Vice President's reports. First up is Dr. Mark Manganaro. Academic Affairs.
Hey, good afternoon, governors. As has been the case this year, there is a wealth of information on the wonderful things that faculty and staff have been doing in academic affairs that are in the academic affairs section of the board book. I'm just going to briefly highlight several of the things in academic affairs. The Commission on Accreditation for Respiratory Care, COARC, is the body that accredits entry into professional practice respiratory care programs at the associate, baccalaureate, and master's degree levels. We had a site visit on May 26th and 27th of a site team visiting to assess our readiness to be accredited. That first visit was very promising, with no concerns expressed from the site team. In fact, they really applauded what we were doing with community outreach on the level of respiratory care and the community support for this program. A final report is anticipated in the coming weeks, but I'm fully confident that we will be passing that with flying colors and in no short order be accredited by COARC with this new program. Summer courses. We began summer courses on Tuesday, May 31. We have experienced a slight decline, 3.5% in summer student enrollment compared to last summer. But I note that the provost office has adjusted the number of courses offered downward by some 21%. 198 sections in last summer compared to 157. There's a typo in the board book in the summer 22. And the main reason for that is we're continuing to monitor course enrollments to ensure that courses are properly and sufficiently enrolled and not under-enrolled. So strategic faculty hiring process. We're continuing to monitor searches for full-time faculty for the 22-23 academic year. Since the fall of 21, 14 positions have been filled, 11 positions are actively in progress, and 4 have been postponed to begin a national search in the fall of 22. In those cases, we felt it was best to defer the search where we have a better roster of candidates, a better timeline for searches. But 5 of the 27 positions that were approved in our strategic faculty hiring process are new faculty lines, meaning they're not replacing a current vacancy. And those new faculty lines are those identified for vocational growth, like cybersecurity, secondary education, nursing, et cetera. If all of those active searches were to be successful, we would be welcoming 25 new faculty in the fall. I suspect that they will not all be successful, will not all move forward, and we will pivot in some cases to hiring adjuncts in some cases, but we are going to have a full roster of new faculty in the fall, I'm glad to say. As you will remember, at the beginning of this academic year, we planned out to have 4 joint chairs meetings versus 1 in a given academic year. So the first joint chairs meeting of 22-23 will be held on Friday, July 29th, which will include all the department chairs, deans, provost office staff, and will be led by our new provost, Dr. Laura Reynolds. Dr. Reynolds will have her first day on campus on July 5th and fully take on the role on July 15th. Topics in that session will include best practices in faculty development and evaluation, developing standard operating procedures, identifying efficiencies in how our departments function, and also data-driven decision-making, which we've really been putting an emphasis on this year, and returning to that issue of common challenges that face departmental leadership. I will stop for now, but I'm happy to entertain any questions and encourage you to delve into the material that's in the board book.
Any questions?
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Next will be the Vice President of Finance and Administration, Daryl Morrison.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I'd like to begin with a report on our area. We're extremely busy this time of year. A lot of going on. A lot of times people think that summer is the slow time. Well, I can tell you, for us, it is not. It's right the opposite for us, as we have many things currently underway. Lost my place. My apology. I think Dr. Mace sabotaged me while I wasn't looking as I was making notes. We are in the accounting finance area, particularly we have been monitoring our COVID expenditures, COVID funds expenditures from both the state and federal level. We have completed all of those. We're in good shape. I'd like to thank my staff for a tremendous amount of work on that. There's a lot of requests, a lot of dotting the I and crossing the T's, if you will, in those reports, and they've done outstanding work. Additionally, the fiscal year 23 budget, the one that was approved at our most recent meeting in May, has been loaded into the system. It's there. We'll be communicating that out to everyone. I think it's probably one of the worst kept secrets in the world that the budgets are loaded, but we'll communicate that out along with some other things following our board meeting today. We are preparing for the fall semester. We are working on the billing and a lot of those things in student accounts. We're also preparing for our annual audit report and the close of fiscal year 22 as we are opening fiscal year 23. And so we'll be doing that. We're also, a lot of my team are involved in the Chiefs coming, and they are working extremely hard in preparation for that, along with Athletic Director Carter and his team on preparing for the Chiefs' arrival. And so we're working on that, as well as we have many projects going on. The respiratory therapy lab is coming along very nicely, looks good. I know there was a tour, Dr. Kennedy led a tour from some Mr. Poor, Dr. Poor, the new,
Mr.
I'm sorry.
Mr. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I say it wrong?
Yes, fine. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. The new CEO of Mosaic and some others on that. They're coming along. We're also preparing the some renovations in Spratt Hall in anticipation of our communication department moving there. So those things are coming along, not to mention there have been cranes all over campus for roof repairs and or replacement of HVAC units and stuff in Remington and Agostine. So we're doing that. We have also, we're upping our game, if you will, regarding our landscaping and what the campus looks like. Under the direction of Brian Adkins and his team, we've hired a new landscape supervisor, something this campus has not had in recent memory. And so he brings a wealth of knowledge and experience and things like that. So we hope to get our grounds even in better shape. They're much improved from what they were, but we hope to continue to improve on that. We also, one of our bigger tasks has been the implementation of our compensation plan for the campus community. This has been Herculean, if you will, for our HR department. We're not a very big department there, but we've made a lot of progress. I appreciate working with all of my colleagues and those across campus on this. We have, and I think the board, with your approval of these things, should be very proud of your actions, because you have really made a difference in the lives of our employees through the adoption of this plan. Is it perfect? It is not. But is it fair? Is it equitable? Is it defendable? All those things, absolutely, absolutely. And so we've made a tremendous difference. Lastly, I would point out that we completed the final stage with our administrative network cutover to Apogee over the Memorial Day weekend. Some long hours and nights spent by that, but our security is better. Our firewall is better. Our core switches are better. And so we're continuing to test and monitor and update some things. But I believe that we're in the best shape that we have maybe ever been. I can't speak before my time, but I'm certainly better than what we were when I arrived here with the things that have been done. So I'm grateful to all of those that have worked on that. And lastly, Andy and I are hoping that when you come for the first volleyball game this fall, that your sound experience will be much improved in Looney Arena, because we're putting in brand new sound system for that. It's a combination of a little bit of university funds and some funds that were given to the university, and Mark Archambault and Andy kind of went and closed the deal, and the donors excited, I think, and we're excited to have that. So any questions on that part of my report that you might have?
When does the new compensation package kick in?
July 1. Because our faculty are on 9-month contracts, theirs will begin in August, and run through the year. But yeah, begins with the new fiscal year. Okay.
Any other questions?
I'd love for someone in the gallery to give me an amen on that, Rick, by the way, on the salary package for you guys.
There was a couple.
Were you guys happy? I'll ask the guys in the corner.
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Put them on the spot. They said no, they're out. No. Yeah, turn your attention to a couple of things. One item, the first item, and this is on page 32 in your book, is a course fee adjustment. And this is just an oversight when we brought the fees to the board previously. Our Griffin Edge fee is the same as our tuition. That's traditionally, it's gone line to line to line, and we just missed it. It should have been $240, just like our tuition, as opposed to $230, which is what is in the printed book. So we're just a little cleanup here. And so I would just request your approval for that.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay. Thank you for that. Also, we'll talk about the finances, and I'll try to be brief on this. The financial update for fiscal year 22, this begins on page 29 of your book. I'm just looking at today, the individual fund types are listed out in those pages, but we'll just go to the summary of all funds combined on this. What you can see is, after all of the adjustments and things like that, and the back and forth on tuition and things that we did, we actually wound up at 101% we're within from my original budget. Kathy and I's our budget director and I's original projection. We were off less than $100,000 from what we projected better than a year ago. I'll take that any day. Okay. But we did make adjustment. Federal grants and contracts. We talked about this on numerous reports. That was a classification that we adjusted. We're still a little bit down as we tie up some loose ends on bringing in some money at the end of the year for some of these things from the projections. You go down through there. We have several items that we're working on. Athletics particularly stands out. I know Kathy and Teresa have been working together on getting that lined out, as well as Andy and I'll be meeting after this meeting actually today on some of those things as well. Our housing numbers, after the adjustments we made, we hit them pretty well. Our food service, we've still got a little bit to bring in there, but overall things are progressing just in line with what we thought the budget would be doing. Salaries, compensation, those things, think we're going to be under there. And the same thing on our fringe benefits at this point in time, we believe. There's good and bad in that. It's good, we're saving money. It's bad because we don't have enough help to do some of the things that we need to do. So that's where we're at. Supplies and services. We're running really good on those for this fiscal year. We also did something that I've done at other campuses prior to my arrival to this one. We turned off certain expenditures and put some deadlines in place as we near year end, in an effort to try to avoid that rush to the bank and spend it because you have it mentality that sometimes campuses have. And so we'll see how that works out overall. But we're in good shape on those things. Our state appropriations, of course, exactly where we thought they would be. Everything's looking good there. Our investment income is down some, and we're working on that. We have that rectified. Kim Sherwood, our AVP controller, she and I discussed that. So we're in good shape there. It's impressive. As of the end of the month, we had put $12 million into capital on this campus, and that's primarily facilities. That's a lot of these upgrades and things like that have been made possible twofold. One, by our usage and the selection of what we've done with our federal funds, with the Higher Education Emergency Relief Act, and the state, and what our local legislators and the governors have provided to us. And so we have that 11 million plus that about 3 times that we could do if we had the money to bring us back in. But that's a great start. Very happy with that. As it stands right now, we're at $5.3 million to the good. Will we wind up there? No. There's a lot of year-end things that will come in, a lot of payables, a lot of receivables. We'll have some things that Governor Norton always likes to talk about with our retirements and things like that will impact that bottom line number, but we will get there. Okay. I do want to point this out because our cash number, you say, Morrison, you're not watching the shop. Your cash number went down from last year to this year. And it goes back to what I was talking about earlier, and that is the timing a little bit on some of our reimbursements from the state, particularly. A lot of those were not due until mid-June. And so rather than us sending them continually, really with a 2-week window, what we did is we held those and sent them in and tried to send it as many as we could. So not concerning at all there for me. Although 1.7 concerns me, it doesn't in this particular case. Okay. Questions or comments on the financials?
I've got one there on
Yes.
the cash on hand.
Yes.
So if I understood you right, here in a month or so, the 14 million is going to increase as the state divvies out some money. To what degree will
It will
be?
actually, to be clear on that, it will probably not increase a lot. Okay, because we're in a cycle where we're not bringing in additional revenues. So it should sustain itself once we get the state funds in, because we'll have expenditures going out. So it'll sustain itself there. Does that make sense?
Mhm. So why is it going to be 14 versus the 15.7? I guess I missed that.
Well, we have some reimbursements that we have not gotten in yet, some from the state.
Yeah.
And a little dab from the federal on some federal grant money.
So that's
Okay.
going to be offset though by our expenses until.
Yeah, that's right. We'll have expenses, so the cash itself will maintain. And
So are we going to run the approximate million plus less throughout this coming physical year than we did last year?
No, because in August, our revenue sources will pick back up.
Yeah, but the revised budget had a loss
Right.
of almost $2 million. That got balanced by prior year funds, but you didn't bring in cash of prior year funds. You're just moving the money around. So
No,
that's
but we
why-
have a $5.3 million gain right now.
right
That-
now,
that
but I'm just
excludes-
saying, yeah, but ultimately, right?
Right.
So that's actually my question. I know it's not going to, but
Right.
if the 5.394 million were to stay, would you still move the 2 million of prior year funds?
No.
That's what I thought you were gonna say. That's the problem. That's what messes the cash up.
It's a different environment in the sense that the 2.5 are just roll forward funds that have their expenditure. Doesn't mean we're going to expend them. It's a learning process for the campus and how we want to handle those moving forward.
At what number did those run out?
What number?
I mean, can you put prior year funds, any number you want?
No. Those prior year funds, they are designated funds for a specific purpose that can only be used for those purposes. They're maintained in what we call a designated fund, and they roll forward from year to year to year.
Yeah, I
So
get that, but at some point they won't be there.
yes, right. They roll away, and we monitor those balances. We never put numbers in that they don't have the cash for,
Mhm.
things like that.
Any other questions? Made a comment there on the investment income
Yes.
that was going to be rectified. I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, it's a bonding issue with our bonds. We get a turn back on a type of bond that we have from the IRS and through the payroll withholdings and some of those things. We got prior to current council, we got some bad advice on something. So we've been working with the Internal Revenue Service on some 941s and quarterly reports and stuff. And it dealt with the early implementation of employee retention credit and people having to be off due to COVID and things like that, and claiming reimbursements and things like that. And the long and short of it, Governor Episode, is that when the initial rules came out, okay, it says you can do X, Y, and Z, right? And you can claim. And then they decide, and we took those credits, okay? Then they refined the rules a few months later and said, no, you can't. So they froze that distribution that they give back to us until we get all this worked out, and we're finalizing that. We have one quarter, which is in this fiscal year, to finish up. But that's basically what happened on that. I don't know if y'all are familiar with government changing the rules as you go along, but that's,
They seem to every year when I'm getting ready to pay my taxes.
yeah. So,
Any other questions for Mr. Morrison?
The settlement type stuff that we talked about last time, will that run through?
I'm sorry.
The legal type stuff, will that run through this all funds part, or will it?
it will, yeah, it will come through the all funds part. Yes. Will it be a separate line on there? No, we'll probably put it down as other. And when the
Okay.
greater financial statements are done, it'll be extraordinary item, actually, is how I would expect to
Yeah.
record it on the financials, because it's not something that's normal recurring, that sort of
Yes.
thing. Okay. Other questions? Happy to answer. I'm keeping you from the next presenter, though.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the May 31st, 2022 financial report as presented?
Second.
All in favor? First of all, is there any discussion? Hearing none, then all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Right.
Opposed, nay.
Okay,
Motion
thank
carried.
you.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. Next up is Dr. Melissa Mace, Student Affairs and Enrollment Management.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to present the good work of the Division of Student Affairs and Enrollment Management. It has been a good year across the division, and I am incredibly proud to highlight some of the many accomplishments for this year. We have worked hard to build a model of engaging with students in meaningful ways to help them become successful at Missouri Western. One great example of this is the freshman academic advising model we transitioned to this academic year. The majority of our first year students are now advised through the Student Success and Academic Advising Center. This year, the center logged 1,878 advising hours and processed over 2,078 early intervention reports, providing services and referrals to support students. Some of those referrals are to our Missouri Western Counseling Center. This year, the Counseling Center logged 1,931 counseling appointments, with the 3 top areas for seeking counseling being anxiety, depression, and stress in that order. Another area of referral is to our Center for Academic Support, where students engaged in over 3,388 hours of tutoring. Food security issues are also a real threat to the success of our students. This year, over 3,019 pounds of food was distributed to students. In addition, the campus cupboard hours were expanded for better student service. Unfortunately, some situations rise to the level of the university's care team, managed by our Assistant Vice President and Dean of Students, Dr. Brett Bruner. CARE, which stands for Campus Assault, Response, and Evaluation, is a group of professionals across campus who respond to referrals associated with students exhibiting concerning behaviors, thoughts, or facing extreme hardships. This year, the CARE team managed 296 students referred to them. I cannot thank them enough for their dedication to our students' well-being. We know that engaging students in activities such as student organizations, leadership opportunities, and meaningful experiences like traveling to Mississippi to participate in a Habitat for Humanity house build is critical to retaining students. This year, we have increased the number of student organizations and provided programming ranging from diversity and inclusion to mental health first aid training. We have celebrated our students through the Drum Major for Justice Awards banquet, the International and Multicultural Graduation Celebration, and the Student Awards Ceremony, to name a few. The division has also written and received over $58,000 in grants to support these many efforts. The largest grant the division received was through the Missouri Scholarship and Grant Foundation for the My Path program. Dr. Jerry Arnold Cook, Director of the Career Development Center, will be managing this grant designed to help local residents who need a post-high school credential to move to that next level in their jobs or to earn a living wage. Micro-credentials are typically 12 to 18 credit hours and are designed to meet identified community needs. Dr. Arnold Cook has done a tremendous job getting this program off the ground and building the connections in the community to make it successful. I look forward to reporting on our progress at future board meetings. Throughout this year, the professionals who work so hard to recruit and retain our students have done everything I've asked them to do and more. Our admissions counselors, under the leadership of recruitment manager Peggy Payne, have made 527 high school visits and 44 community college visits, and attended 188 college fairs. They have been true road warriors, and I thank them for buying into this vision of connecting with prospective students and their families in more meaningful ways, building those relationships, and sharing the Griffin story. Of course, they have not done this yeoman's work by themselves. We have a spectacular operations team led by Jamie Swiger, who processes applications and evaluates transcripts. Our CRM administrator, Carol Cervera, who keeps our application and communications running smoothly, and our communications coordinator, Megan Berberich, who plans, writes, and works with the marketing and communications team to craft our many messages. As I mentioned in the written report, we have sent out over 260 unique emails, text messages, and print campaign pieces. And that does not include the one-off messages that our admissions team has been sending as they've been communicating to prospective students and their families. It takes a great deal of coordination. Speaking of our application, as we are finishing up our recruitment and admissions efforts for the current academic year, we are also launching our application for the fall 2023-24 academic year. And that new application cycle goes live on July 5th. Under the leadership of Melissa Stahlbaumer, who's currently running our Griffin orientations, we have hosted 5 Griffin Experience Days, set over 200 appointments for prospective students to meet with faculty and manage our daily tours. We've offered Zoom series that ran weekly throughout the year and supported the Future Filmmakers Series Festival and the esports events. So let's take a look at how all of these efforts are impacting the enrollment funnel. As you can see on this slide, we have attracted more applicants and admitted more prospective students than last year. Our applications and freshman admissions have increased by over 29%. Transfer applications have increased slightly over last year at 3%, but we're currently lagging about 8% behind last year in our admits at this time. However, I do want to say that we are 1.6% over where we were last year for enrolling those transfer students. On this slide, we can see that we are experiencing solid increases in both commits and Griffin orientation registrations for the Buchanan County high schools. I should note that even though Savannah is in Andrew County, I went ahead and included them in this slide due to their proximity to Buchanan County and the St. Joseph area. Overall, for first-year commits and Go registrations, we are up across the board in both gross and net numbers. We have seen some students cancel due to conflicts, vacation conflicts, camp conflicts, and gas prices. So we will also be pivoting for those students and offering an online go in August. Here we have our top undergraduate majors based on Go registrations. Our top 4 majors are nursing, psychology, criminal justice, and elementary education. Housing applications are a strong indicator of attendance. New student housing is up 47%. Continuing students are up 4%, and overall housing is currently up 21%. We have a new team in Housing and Residence Life led by Director John Vanderpool, and I'm incredibly excited about the great work they are doing, reaching across divisions to make the residential experience better for our students with both facilities and programming. One thing I will mention is our plan to take Vaslakos offline this year for that planned upgrade. Together with Vice President Morrison and his team, we are starting to think very strategically about all of our housing buildings, what they need, and how we accomplish these goals together. Thank you so much, Daryl, to you and your team for everything that you do. Finally, I would like to talk about some of the efforts we have and are engaging in to get all of our students registered for the fall semester. This work actually spans 3 divisions: academic affairs, finance and administration, and student affairs and enrollment management. In addition to everything I've shared with you about how we are working to engage students outside the classroom, we know our faculty are engaging our students in the classroom through critical thinking, rigorous discussion, and building those mentorship relationships that are critical to our students' academic success. Throughout the semester, we have worked to get students registered, reaching out to our current students, meeting with them, helping guide them in course selection and academic planning. We do continue to reach out to students who have not yet registered. These are mostly students with some type of registration hold, predominantly business office holds, to guide them in the next steps of the process. As it stands right now, we are at an overall persistence rate of 78% for spring to fall registration, meaning that about 22% of our students have not registered. Our continuing students have not yet registered. Over the next few weeks, we will be building a profile of the 22% so that we can better address their needs and help them over the course of the remainder of the summer. The last thing that I want to say is thank you to Nathan Scott and the Student Government Association for everything they did this year to help us achieve all that I have shared on these slides and more. SGA has been instrumental in so much of what has been accomplished, and I look forward to sharing some of the exciting new things we are building for this coming fall semester that honestly just would not be possible without the support of our Student Government Association. I look forward to sharing those with you at the August Board of Governors meeting. Thank you, and I am happy to take your questions at this time.
There appears to be no questions. But it's nice to see an increase in the all phases of it. So good work.
Thank you very much. I can't take credit. I have an exceptional team of people across the division. You know, things are going well. We know we have a lot of work to do, however. So thank
And I
you.
enjoyed your carnival out there in the
Thank you
hallway
very
there.
much. Sorry about the traffic jam out there.
Okay, next, excuse me, University Advancement and Missouri Western State University Foundation, Mark Aschenbaugh.
Good afternoon, governors. I will keep my remarks brief in the interest of time. You've got my full report in the board book. As you're aware, I think I'd mentioned in an earlier report that we had 2 vacant positions in our office. I'm pleased to report we've filled both of those. The position of development officer has been filled now by Erica Hall. She comes to us from a nonprofit organization in Macon, Missouri, and received her Bachelor's of Arts in Communication Studies with a minor in marketing from Columbia College. She'll be responsible for our annual fund, our Day of Giving, our Western League for Excellence, our ambassadors program, and will serve as a staff liaison for the ambassadors and other philanthropic organizations we may create in the year ahead. Our other new employee, again, filling an existing vacant position, is alumna Madison Runkles, class of 19. She was hired as our new engagement coordinator for alumni relations. She received her bachelor's degree in public relations with a minor in journalism, and she expects to complete her master's degree in communication this December. Madison will be responsible for connecting alumni back to the university through communications, events, and volunteer management. She's very excited to be back home at Missouri Western. The alumni office in another new program will embark on an exciting oral history project. A third-party vendor we've engaged will interview and record alumni memories and nostalgic comments about the university and produce videos as well as a book of historical highlights, both available for purchase by alumni. This program is going to provide a great opportunity to connect with our alumni, connect with stories, learn where they are in their current careers and lives. And this is at no cost to the university or the foundation. So we're pretty pleased about this arrangement. The university, through the foundation, has received a variety of major gifts since we last met. A $100,000 plan gift was established that'll benefit math instruction at the university. Chrissy McCann from my office, with the help of foundation board members Todd Michalski and Matt Thrasher, as well as others, helped raise more than $75,000 for a new indoor golf simulator practice space that allows our team to be much more competitive. A $10,000 grant was received from a local charitable fund administered by the Community Foundation of Northwest Missouri. It'll provide scholarships to contemporary learners, non-traditional students. $100,000 was secured by Kim Weddle with a little bit of help from Andy and I, which Daryl mentioned, $100,000 for that sound system that was already in the works for the field house as a new opportunity. We received a $10,000 unrestricted gift from a local trust, and a new endowed scholarship was established in memory of Bob Norton. In all, more than $30,000 have been already contributed in memory of Missouri Western's beloved Bob Norton. Of those funds, $3,400 are for immediate use in athletics. Almost $23,000 are also building a fund that'll be expendable over a number of years to spur success in our athletics programs. In engaging our campus community, I met with Mark Manganaro with a number of faculty leaders earlier this year before the semester wrapped up, and asked them what one of the number one things they might want from the foundation would be in the near term. They expressed that one of their pain points is additional funds needed for faculty travel when they are accompanying students to a conference, a workshop where they might be presenting their undergraduate research or applied learning experience, so that their mentor can be there with their students to make sure they get the most out of it. And I'm pleased to say that the foundation board immediately allocated an additional $10,000 to that effect. And it sounds like they were very pleased to receive these new funds in the new fiscal year. That is all I have, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions?
Thank you.
Guess not. Thank you. Now we'll have our first report from the Mr. Andy Carter, and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. First off, I want to say just a word of thanks for allowing me to get here quickly and get started to work much quicker than some of these transitions take. It's really allowed me the benefit of learning a lot over the last 50+ days and providing some leadership that will help pay off dividends here in the coming year. So thank you for that. Relationship building has been a big part of what I've been doing. Obviously with head coaches and staff, we're hiring some folks. We're creating our team to be able to create these great experiences for our students. And that's taken a lot of time, but it's such important work. We hope to have several of these positions filled in the coming weeks. We did have our auction and our golf tournament, and I think they went off really well. There was significant dollars raised. That we're really doing an after action on all of that to see if the auction is really part of the golf tournament, and should we move it to some other time frame. I think that the golfers would come on the golf day regardless if we have the auction 2 days prior. So we're going to try to streamline that to see what's the best way to use those efforts and those relationships to build the best events possible. Summer camps this summer have been fantastic. We've had just great turnouts from our local high schools and local middle schools for team camps and individual camps. Basketball just finished up their week-long of camps. And I've had an opportunity to walk around and speak to some of the guests on campus, and they're just having fantastic experiences in the summertime. That does help create some revenue for our programs, but at the same time, it's a great outreach into our communities to have those young people and their parents on our campus. I spent a Friday and a weekend and into Tuesday the following week in Kansas City at the MIAA offices, getting oriented. I've known Mike Gracie, our commissioner, for 20+ years, but just trying to understand, first of all, see their offices, understand how this conference works compared to the other conferences I've been in. And I've been really happily surprised to find out that they're all about the same. There's not a whole lot different in the way they operate, but what's really good about our league is it appears that we have a group of institutions, athletic directors and presidents that all want what's best for the young people that we serve. And that's fantastic. While I was there, I also attended the annual meeting of athletic directors and FARs. And the awards banquet that they held. And it was really a good time because we had one of our own go into the MIAA Hall of Fame, Shelley Lowry, volleyball player, student athlete. I was able to meet her and her family. They came in for the event. They obviously had a great time, and we're excited about having that opportunity to be recognized. Ongoing preparation for Chiefs Camp is happening almost on a weekly, if not daily basis. This is an interesting time for me, learning all of the things that go into making that happen. There are going to be some new things that happen this next year. We've streamlined some of the parking with hopes of being able to get people in quicker and not have these bottlenecks of traffic. The Chiefs have worked with us in being able to, when they go on to claim their ticket, whether it's a paid ticket or it's a free ticket that they have to get, they have to go to a parking site and pay. We're gonna try to do that to make sure that we're not having all kinds of young people with wads of $5 bills in their pockets. We will still have that option just in case somebody slips through the cracks. And we're not going to try to create bottlenecks. If somebody doesn't have it and they don't have $5, they'll be our guests for the day, and we'll move them along because we don't want these lines to get out of control. I was excited, and so far, Daryl and both Mark mentioned the sound system at Looney. You know, one of the things that we're about in the athletic world is when we have people from the outside in our community come and experience an event, their experience on our campus, they form opinions, and they form opinions off of whatever their expectations are set from going to other places. So anytime we can improve sound where people can actually hear what the announcer's saying, or they can hear their businesses sponsorship being read out loud or things like that. It just really improves the experience for everyone. And so we're excited to get that donation. I appreciate the work that Kim and Mark did on that to tee that up. And then as I alluded to previously, just we have about 4 searches going on right now in our area, and we hope to get those wrapped up quickly. I'd be glad to handle any questions that you might have.
Any questions for our athletic director? Thank you, sir.
Well, that was
Good
easy.
report.
Thank you.
Next up is marketing and communication. Becky Dunn.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon. So I mentioned in my report that our focus is really on collaboration, and I'll highlight a few areas that we've been collaborating. We're very pleased with our work with the admissions team. We had a goal to complete 34 unique recruitment pieces by the end of this week, and we did it. So we're very excited to have those completed. It was a great collaboration, and we're on track to send those to the printer on time. We've also created a new landing page for new students. This will be a page that they can go to learn about Griffin Edge, new student orientation, welcome week, and if they're living on campus, how to move in and where to park. So we're excited to have that all in one place. You noticed and commented on the carnival outside. So with the Griffin orientation, we have piloted a screen takeover. We've had content that's unique for Griffin orientation days in the locations where students and families are attending those days. So a big shout out to our technology services colleagues for helping us make that happen. We're tracking the success of this screen takeover with unique QR codes and scans that people complete in each location. And this will help us know what's effective. So we're excited about that. We're also building up our capacity to make some data-driven decisions when it comes to our advertising and working with admissions to track ads that are online to see how the students progress through the application process. We're collaborating with athletics to do a refresh of their 5 billboards, and we hope to have those up in the new fiscal year. And with academic affairs, we're supporting the efforts with the strategic plan focus groups and also marketing micro-credentials and the early college academy. So some good work coming out of there. Just a few highlights of the data that's in my report. From April 1st to May 31st, our team has processed over 400 creative projects. We're excited to support the campus in this way, and we're also moving forward in an effort to continuously improve and be more efficient to use Asana as a project management tool. So we're excited about that. You'll see that engagement on Facebook has nearly doubled from our April report, and we're also making really impressive strides with our LinkedIn presence. The custom view book that we work with admissions on continues to improve in performance as well. We have 200 more leads in this time period than in my report in April. And admissions recruitment efforts through texts and emails continue to generate the majority of those leads. We see that top programs selected are still nursing, education, psychology, biology, and criminal justice. And the student life component is centered around what freshmen are looking for: housing, clubs and organizations, and food. Regarding our website, we're taking a deeper dive into our Google Analytics this summer and trying to really enhance our tracking capabilities and integration with Slate, which is the tool that admissions uses. And we're looking at transitioning to a new platform, which will be a big lift, but important to improve our website overall. You can read more about my report in the board book. I'm happy to take any questions.
Questions? I've got a comment, Becky.
Yes, sir.
Prior to the meeting here, I was visiting with a parent and a couple of incoming freshmen that was here for orientation. And the comment from one of the girls, the incoming freshman girl, was that she really loved the food. So you may have your, not in the right order. Maybe food is first.
Maybe it is. We'll beef that up in the custom view book. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Now it's time to hear a report from our president, Dr. Kennedy.
Yeah, well, thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Ebersol, Vice Chair Schoonover, and Governor Teeman. When I was writing the report, we were in the throes of the 90-degree days. So I was going to start off by saying, welcome to summer in Missouri. But today's a little rainy and cooler. But I think what we've heard from all of our cabinet members is that there are wonderfully exciting things going on campus. And certainly summer is here at Missouri Western. So we've heard some of the really great highlights, and I'm very proud of the work that everyone's been doing. I do want to mention one of the highlights of summer that everyone is excited about, and that is the Chiefs Camp. Andy Carter mentioned a little bit about this, but I want you, I'd like you governors to recognize that this year's Chiefs Camp is going to be closer to pre-pandemic Chiefs Camp. So there won't be the social distancing we had to do last year. There will be autographs available and those kinds of things. And with that in mind, I'd like to invite our governors to please put a few early save the dates on your calendars, if you would, in the hopes that you'll be able to join us. So the first public day, which is July 28th, that's a Thursday. We are hosting, this is our elected officials day. So we'll be reaching out locally, state, and inviting folks. And we're excited about that day. We did one last year, the first day of camp, and it was a great hit because it is so much excitement that day. We will be doing an employee appreciation day, and that will be on Friday, August 5th. If you're able to join us that day, that's a day we host our employees in our tent, and we'll have breakfast items and have an opportunity to watch the Chiefs during that camp. And then the last day that we're going to be doing is a board appreciation day. This is in partnership with the Foundation and Advancement, and that will be Monday, August 11th. So again, that's Thursday, the 28th of July, Friday, August 5th, and Monday, the 11th. Camp starts promptly at 9 a.m.
August the 11th.
Isn't that what I said?
I've got that as a Thursday.
Is that a third? Well, it could be, but it is August 11th. I must have looked at the wrong month. Okay. So those will be our days. As I mentioned, camp starts at 9, and it does promise to be a big year for the Chiefs. We had a good meeting with Mosaic, the city, the chamber today to talk about some of those events. So please, if you would, keep an eye on your Missouri Western email boxes. We'll be getting more notifications and invites. So with that as a backdrop, let me provide some additional highlights to you. As we have wrapped up our final academic year with May totals, I'm very pleased to report that we held a record 416 applied learning experiences, which were attended by more than 500 of our students. And similarly, our faculty participated in nearly 200 scholarly and professional development activities, and our faculty and staff have garnered nearly 150 different accomplishments, ranging from awards, grants, and other prestigious recognitions. If I were to sum up this past year, I would say it was outstanding. Our campus was vibrant, our students engaged in the classroom and beyond, and our faculty and staff have demonstrated the intentional focus they have on our students' success. We are moving forward with clear direction and sure purpose. So let me provide you some other updates. First of all, the status of the search of the Dean of the College of Business and Professional Studies. As I've mentioned, we're working with Dr. Richtermeyer from Academic Search, and Dean Heyer is chairing that committee. Dr. Richtermeyer has been actively engaged, meeting with internal and external stakeholders to receive input, feedback regarding the selection of the next dean. So that includes advisory boards, business leaders, particularly Steve Craig. I personally have had several conversations with Mr. Craig about that. He's also met with faculty, staff, other administrators. And our tentative timeline puts candidates coming for on-campus interviews sometime in mid-October to result in a hire by November. As I've mentioned in other meetings too, Dr. Manganero will be stepping in officially as the interim dean of the college once our new provost, Dr. Reynolds, arrives in July 5th. So we're excited about that. I also wanted to echo the provost when he spoke about the visit of COARC for our respiratory therapy program. This visit went exceptionally well, and I want to make sure the governors realize that, because accreditation visits are notoriously difficult. but this was an excellent report. We will get their final word in July. And that is exciting because that gives us the opportunity then to fully advertise the program and to really commit to that, even though we already have students who have signed up and will be coming in the fall. And I also want to point out that to pull this program together in the span of just slightly over 1 year is an exceptional feat. And I want to thank Dean Harris, who's in the back row with us today, for her leadership and for the dedicated work of Dr. Gerlach, Dr. Dodd, Dr. Kendall, Dr. Elias, Dr. Newton, and Mr. David Northrup, who's the new director of our program. It's really outstanding work. Also, as Vice President Morrison mentioned, I brought Mike Poor, the new CEO, over from Mosaic so he could see where his money was going. And he was incredibly excited about the respiratory therapy program and the lab. And he also just was really impressed by the tour of the simulation facility. So that relationship continues to deepen, and I'm really excited about the prospects there. I also want to touch briefly on the Center for Service. Again, this has been a university initiative which continues to demonstrate what a critical addition it is to the university in terms of student engagement, community engagement. In 2021, for example, we had 270 unique volunteers who served the university or community through the Center for Service. In the first 5 months alone of 2022, 104 unique volunteers performed service through the center, with 72 students providing service for the very first time. I think that is outstanding, and we're excited about the fall. We'll have more opportunities for our students to be engaged and to give back to our community. Also, I was incredibly proud that the center provided service-based opportunities for participants in this spring's Barbara Sprong Leadership Challenge, which was led by Dr. Mace in the classroom. I think that was wonderful, and that we were able to provide a dedicated annual service leadership award to one of our stellar student volunteers, Miss Maya Riley from Kansas City. She was the first recipient of the Pat and Terry Maudlin Heart for Service Award for her commitment to service during this school year. Another event that the center will be engaged in is they're planning for its quote unquote next big event in September. This is also going to be a partnership with our Student Government Association and Beautify St. Joseph, and work this in September will be done on the city's south side. We were in the north side last time, so we're going on the south side, and they're going to do the work just prior to the South Side Fall Festival. It's another way to get our students out in the public to demonstrate our involvement and our commitment to the community. So we're excited about that. Speaking of community engagement, as I always report, I continue my efforts to build those relationships, to get engaged. I want to point out to the governors, we had a wonderful St. Joseph Legislative Partnership DC fly-in trip. There was a host of individuals, including the mayor, city manager Brian Carter, presiding county commissioner Lee Sawyer, Commissioner Ron Hook, Chamber President Natalie Redmond, Community Alliance Director Tama Wagner, 139th Commander Colonel John Cluck, and incoming Superintendent for the St. Joseph School District, Dr. Gabe Edgar, as well as the St. Joseph School Board President David Foster and myself. We had appointments with Senators Blunt and Holly and Representatives Graves and Hartlers. We were able to discuss issues related to St. Joseph in terms of the levies, Rosecran, education for higher education, as well as K through 12, and just our entire region. I also wanted to let the governors know I have been asked to serve as vice chair for the Missouri Council on Public Higher Education for the state of Missouri. This is a group I've been participating on since I began my term. It helps us both in terms of elevating the interests of higher education for the state, but particularly for Missouri Western. So in conclusion, I just wanted to say, I hope from the updates you've heard today and the highlights and all the information, that it is clear that we are moving forward, as I often say, with clear direction and sure purpose. I also want to thank the work and support of the board. It is important to us, to my entire team as we move forward to the university. But also I want to thank the hard work of our community, our campus community, our faculty, staff, administrators, and yes, our student leaders, all of whom are focused on the success of our students. So this is our focal point, and as I often repeat, we are moving forward again with clear direction and sure purpose. And then happy to take any questions you might have.
Questions? Bob?
No.
Good looking smile. I thought you had.
Well, you know, it's just a pleasure to sit here and listen to positive reports today and enthusiastic reports as well, and see that momentum is there, and it's just refreshing, you know, knowing the journey we've been on for a few years, and confidence. Sounds like a lot of confidence in the room. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
I couldn't agree more. I think that the university as a whole, from all aspects, students, administration, faculty, community involvement is better than it has been since I've been involved. And I agree with Dr. Kennedy. It appears that we're moving forward with clear purpose, and we are attaining that. And I thank you for that. Congratulations on your newest appointment. The Council of Presidents Higher Education, that's a big deal, and certainly will go a long ways in helping to keep Missouri Western in the forefront of the right political people. Okay, anything else for Dr. Kennedy? Okay, it's the report of the chair. I did want to add one other thing. That was a great report on the accreditation business. I agree with you, to get that positive feedback from them in one short year for a new program, just outstanding. It's now time for the election of officers for 2022-2023 year. We'll now hear from the nominating committee for their recommendations. Governor Norton, as chairman of that committee, it's your floor.
It was a very difficult task, so I appreciate getting to report to you, Chair Abersold, on behalf of the nominating committee, which is myself, Governor Schoonover. And we recommend for, and I forgot my partner in crime. We recommend Governor Rick Abersold as the chairman of the board and Governor Kayla Schoonover as the vice chair of the board for the upcoming year of 2022-2023.
Governor Schoonover, do you accept that nomination?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the nominating committee's recommendation for the 2022-2023 board officers as presented, and Darrell Morrison as treasurer of the board and Betsy Wright as secretary of the board?
So moved.
A second.
Second. If I'm allowed to. But
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion is passed. The next board meeting will be on Thursday, August the 18th at 1:30 p.m. Are there any board member comments or questions? There being no further comments or questions, a vote will be held to close the meeting pursuant to Missouri statutes 610.021, sections 1, 2, 3, and 14, to consider legal matters, real estate, personnel, and other matters protected by law. Do I have a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay.
You ready? Okay.
The board meeting's back in open session. Do I have a motion to approve the personnel recommendations as presented in closed session?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion's passed. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.